Hi! You're probably wondering, who are you and what are you doing on my computer? Well, my name is Laura, I'm from Airstream of Scottsdale, and I'm a full-time Airstreamer myself, and I just wanted to share with you a couple of things that you're going to need when you buy a new Airstream from the dealership before you hit the road. This is going to make your first camping trip a lot more successful. First up is a brake controller. Now, when I hit the road for my first day of towing, I had no idea what a brake controller was. I towed my first 100 miles without a brake controller. Fortunately, it was in Indiana and there are no hills, so there's that. This is what the package for the brake controller looks like. We sell Takancha here in our store. There are other brands out there. This is what I personally use and I can highly recommend it. And what the brake controller does is it sends a signal back to your trailer brakes, because the trailer has its own braking system, so that your vehicle and your trailer can slow down and stop at the same time, rather than putting all that stopping force on your tow vehicle. There's also an independent control on it, so you can brake just the trailer brakes. That's really handy if you're, say, coming down a mountain or something, or you're in slippery conditions, or you're experiencing trailer sway. Now that brings us to our next important piece of equipment. A weight distribution anti-sway hitch is always a good idea. It doesn't matter how big your truck is, how small your Airstream is. Trailer sway can happen on a little cargo trailer. I'm sure you've driven down the highway and seen them kind of swiveling back and forth. Now, Airstreams are much less susceptible to trailer sway than other brands, but it's a good idea to have one of those on there. Here at our store we sell the Blue Ox, but there are other brands out there. I use a Pro Pride. Depending on your trailer size, that may be way overkill for it, but yeah, you have a lot of options out there. They pretty much all do the same thing, and the weight distribution part of it projects the weight of the tongue of the trailer farther forward into your vehicle. So I'm sure you've also seen this riding down the highway, a vehicle with a really overloaded trailer, and they're kind of doing that down the road. That can cause the trailer to sway behind. That's no good. So you wanna bring that up level, and that's what the weight distribution part of it does. And then the anti-sway part prevents it from swaying back and forth. It makes for a very comfortable towing experience, and I would highly recommend it. I'll cover hitching up in a separate video, but for now, you'll need to get yourself either a carabiner hook or one of these, and this is a bungee breakaway cable. That ensures that if your vehicle and your Airstream ever become separated, it yanks a pin out on the front of the A-frame of the trailer, which activates the trailer brakes, and it will come to a stop by itself. On the side of your Airstream you have your dump station, and there's a few things you're going to need to be able to successfully dump. First up, you have your sewer hose. This is what it looks like. There is a compartment under your Airstream that will fit 10 feet of sewer hose. This particular one is 15 feet long. You can also get a 20-foot hose broken up into two 10-foot sections. I'd recommend doing that so you can fit one in the storage compartment under your Airstream, and keep the other one in a real heavy-duty plastic bag, throw it in the bumper. You may not need it, but if you need it, you're gonna extra need it, so it's good to have enough hose handy. This hooks up to the single port on the side of your Airstream that dumps the gray and the black water. We'll get more into that in a separate video, but you're gonna need one of these. Next up is your drinking water hose. A regular garden hose will not work for this. You're gonna have really terrible tasting water. I'm not sure I'd recommend drinking water out of it anyway, but it just adds a whole extra element of plasticity that you don't want in your water system. So drinking water hose. You are also going to need a black tank flush hose. And Make sure you get 2 separate hoses. You do not want to use your drinking water hose to flush your black tank. That's gross. So yeah, get yourself one of these. It doesn't have to be real long. Usually your water connection is pretty close to the Airstream itself. Or if you're at a dump station, it's usually really close by, so you don't have to get 40 feet of hose or anything. This one's 25 feet. This is more than enough. While we're talking about the dump station, let's talk about toilet paper. Alright, so you can use RV-friendly, specifically for RV and marine sanitation systems, toilet paper. This is kind of pricey. You don't actually need to do that. If you get just single ply, real thin, cheap toilet paper, that'll work just fine. Just don't use gobs of it. If it has angels or bears or says extra anything on it, you want to avoid that. You don't want the real thick stuff that's going to clog up your system. Now, after you dump your black tank, you're going to need to put some chemical in it. Usually a small packet of sample chemical comes with your Airstream. It's not going to be enough for more than 1 or 2 dumps. So every time you dump your black tank, you want to put a little bit of water down there and then some of the sanitizing, deodorizing, fantasticizing liquid down there. It also comes in powder or powder packs, but this is what it looks like usually. Personally, I prefer the liquid stuff because it instantly deodorizes the tank. If you're going to leave it in storage for a while, make sure you put some of that in there. Make sure you put some water in the black tank. You don't want to come back, open the door, and just, you know, be overwhelmed by stinkiness. So that really helps to cut down the odor. Sometimes when you get to your site, if you're staying in an RV park, usually the sites are going to be pretty level. If you're dry camping, you know, you go to a national park or a national forest, Bureau of Land Management land, usually you're going to have to do some kind of leveling. Now you level side to side while you're still hitched up to your tow vehicle, and you do that by using these fancy things. These are little wedges that you kind of back up onto, and that's going to give one side or the other a little more height. This is really nice because it all comes in one. You can adjust how much leveling you need. You don't have to get separate blocks and chalks. This is very convenient. If you're going to be camping on level ground, you can also use the same chalks to block your tires off. It's important that you do that. Personally, I like to use the heavy-duty rubber chalks. You can certainly chalk your trailer by yourself. You get to your campsite, pick your spot, put the back chalks in, and then put the vehicle in reverse, back up onto it just a little bit until you get some resistance. Put your parking brake on, put the vehicle in park, and then get out and put the chalks on the front side of the wheel. Really cram them in there, and then when you put your vehicle in neutral, the trailer settles down in between the chalks. So as you're walking around your Airstream, it's not seesawing back and forth. Your wheels are nice and steady in place. On the inside of your Airstream, you're going to need the obvious things like towels, utensils, what you'd expect. Now you're probably thinking, I just paid a lot of money for an Airstream, it should come with bedding. Well, it sort of does. You get 2 of these pillows, and you get a duvet cover, and you have more throw pillows than you will know what to do with. Now make sure you don't damage these or throw these out, because if you go to trade or sell your Airstream later on, if you don't have the original throw pillows, it's going to depreciate your Airstream by about half. You will, however, need a set of sheets. Airstream has custom size sheets for their custom beds, and you can buy these, or you can actually get away with using household sheet sets. You can get yourself a set of queen sheets for a queen size bed. You're just going to have a few extra inches of material at the bottom that you can just tuck under. For a rear corner bed, you can use a set of double sheets. If you want things to look exactly perfect, go ahead and get yourself the Airstream set of sheets that fit the bed in your Airstream. Now models like the Classic are going to come with its own set of sheets, so you don't need to worry about purchasing those if you've got yourself a classic. You just bought a beautiful new Airstream, and it's a good idea to take some precautionary measures to make sure that nobody takes it from you. These are 2 locks. It's a good idea to get a set like this because one lock goes between the vehicle and the bar that goes into the vehicle, and this one goes right above the coupler on the A-frame. That way if you're at a rest area or something, nobody can unlock anything and take the trailer off your tow vehicle. And it also can't jostle open and release your trailer on its own. Very unlikely that will happen, but this will ensure that it won't. This is one of those nice to have things, not one of those need to have things. The Airstream has 4 stabilizer jacks on it, and if you don't feel like cranking those down manually, you can get one of these. It's just a socket that fits on a cordless drill. You just put it on the peg that sticks out from the Airstream and push the button. The stabilizer jack will come down. Now if you have an Airstream like a Classic or Tommy Bahama, those come with electric stabilizer jacks, so you're not going to need one of these. We have 2 extra credit items. This is a lock for the tongue of the trailer. This actually fits up into the coupler, just like a ball would when you're hitching up. And this covers it up. This is nearly impossible to get into, so if you're going to be storing your Airstream, this is a really good idea to have. Now when you're at a campground plugged in, it's also a good idea to have a surge protector. I use this one myself, and I've had really good success with it. In case there's a brownout or something in the RV park, it will cut power to your Airstream so you're not using too low voltage. It's not going to damage your appliances. Thanks for watching today. I hope this was helpful as we looked at all the extra items you're going to need when you start out with your brand new Airstream. If you have any questions, give us a call at Airstream of Scottsdale.